All right, 6 a.m. first drop. I'm sure that one's gonna be a project off a busy highway. Let's see what this day holds. So here's the deal. I've been running illegally for like 2 years, supposedly. All right, we're not in the truck right now. Dropping little bits off to daycare, and then I need to go take care of something.
Hi, little bits. Daddy's gotta go fix something that he really messed up.
All right, before we jump in the mom Jeep again to go take care of this, we're gonna go help Keegan first. All right, so Keegan's already in the truck. Take a look here. This is called an apportioned plate. And over here are IFTA stickers. So if you cross state lines, you need IFTA stickers. This is a fuel tax agreement and a apportioned plate. This is literally made for a semi because this truck is a 14,000 pound axle truck and that trailer is 14,000 pound axles, which brings it to 28,000 pounds combined weight. That is when you need a CDL, not when it's how much weight you're carrying. It's the combined weight capabilities of the truck. So this truck requires a Class A CDL. Believe it or not, I promise you it does. But with that comes some things you definitely got to make sure you take care of. Hey, criminal. All right, so Keegan, you guys have met. If you subscribe to the channel, subscribe. Well, anyway, Keegan, you got pulled over a few days ago.
Oh, yeah.
Why'd you get pulled over?
It's going 30 and a 20.
School zone. School started, and we have a lot of schools around, and you weren't even in town. You were like somewhere, yeah, you were somewhere we don't usually service. So, of course, officer pulls him over, takes forever to get back to him, and she goes, yeah, this truck's not coming up. He calls me. I, of course, didn't answer at least 3 times, so he's panicking. But at the end of the day, the officer is cool, cut him loose, everything else was okay. But the problem is, I then reached out to the Secretary of State and was like, hey, why is my trailer showing up? But my truck, they tried to run the VIN, they tried to run the plate, and I even told Keegan to let the officer know, like, hey, like, it's an apportioned plate, you might have to run it differently, I don't know. And she's like, no, you need to reach out to the Secretary of State. So I did. Turns out, for 2 years, this truck has not been registered. So here's the deal. This is the ignorance, I guess, that I had. On your regular car, trailer, whatever it is that you register, you get a sticker. You slap that sticker on there and you never have to worry about it again. Please keep in mind, if you already know how this works, this is our first semi truck. So I thought, because you had to get the apportioned plate to get the IFTA stickers, because I crossed state lines with a truck over so much weight, I thought the IFTA sticker was my registration, because quarterly I have to file all of the miles that we travel in this truck. So I thought, well, this must be the registration. This is my quarterly tax. Well, it turns out, no, they're separate. You have a registration, then you also have an IFTA. Leave it to government to take as much as they possibly can. So for 2 years, the other thing that killed me was we paid IFTA. I paid the IFTA quarterly, every quarter. And the funny thing is, IFTA never reached out to me, or, the Department of Revenue, which is right next door to the Capitol, to say, hey, by the way, your apportioned plates are non-existent anymore. They kept taking my money, but what's funny is you need to have apportioned plates to get the IFTA sticker. So after that first round, they never informed me, but I kept paying. So now, in order to be legal, I am gonna haul my butt over as quickly as possible to the state capitol. Luckily, I'm only 2.5 hours away. I know a lot of you guys are across the country, so this isn't gonna make sense, but here's the deal. They will not take a credit card over the phone so I can take care of this, because they basically said, you've got to catch up 2 years. You'll be legal, but you got to catch up for 2 years worth of payments. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll cut you a check, or here, let's just do this over the phone. I'll get you my miles. They're like, oh, no. You got to come in and do it in person, or you need to mail us a check. I was like, okay, I can do a credit card in person, but I have to mail you a check? They're like, yeah, we don't take credit cards over the phone. So in order to get legal as quickly as possible, I am going to drive 2.5 hours to go get legal. I can't imagine somebody that lives up in Chicago that's just 5 hours from me and then another 2.5 hours to the state capital here if they were in the same situation. Pretty silly, if you ask me. But otherwise, I can mail them a check. It'll probably take another week to process. And then after I process year 1, I then have to quickly follow up and register for year 2. So the only way I can like expedite that process is by literally driving there and taking care of it immediately and in person. You gotta love it. All right, we had one dumpster that we needed to grab together, and I wanted to confirm with the owner something, but yeah, then we're gonna get this thing loaded and I'm gonna get on the road. Let him do the rest of the stuff for the day. I love it. Do it the hard way. Hurry. Come on. I wish we had that targeting system that we did. All right, he's off. Let's get going. All right, so I don't feel naked anymore. Finally found my hat. If you actually want one of these hats, you should definitely subscribe and follow the channel, because I tend to give one away every once in a while when I have you guys guess weights, guess time, guess price on certain jobs we do. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and you might get one. I actually need to send one out later today to somebody who got something right in one of our last videos. You know, just part of business, you know. And this, for you guys that are like, oh, I don't know if I should go CDL or get my DOT number, I'd say it's always worth it, because it opens up more opportunity and it also allows you to do a little bit more. But it does come with headache. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's IRP plates you got to take care of. There's DOT numbers you got to take care of. There's registrations. There's insurances that are different. There are, as you see, the IFTA sticker if you're over 26,000 pounds. Like, there's a lot to it. And sometimes it really does make me want to, like, some of you guys who drive semis will know, like, those EDLs that keep track of all your miles and everything. Something like that definitely comes in handy in this situation, rather than trying to do everything manually and keep track of everything manually and register things manually. But yeah, it's just part of it, guys. I mean, it's just today's headache. This is no different than some guy sitting at a desk dealing with his own problems. These are my problems. It has an entire business, numbers, and liabilities behind it now. Before we get on the highway, I want to show you this too. This cracks me up. So if you kind of follow the channel, I may have spoken about this once. It's a subcontracting company that's doing work for our local Home Depot. And this is just a joke, because I talked to the person on the phone. I said, do not put XYZ in it. And that included all the things that are already in the contract. Like, hey, like, this dumpster will be used for what you're saying, which is tin, sheet metal, and some wood. And she said, yeah, it's just going to be light stuff. That's what she literally said to me. It's just going to be light stuff. Nothing to worry about. Always something to worry about. So, man, this just keeps getting even better. I was here yesterday taking a look at this. This wasn't even here. So they've added more to it. But what's funny is what's actually underneath of it. All right, so they've covered it up with all the sheet metal so you can't see. They also definitely loaded this with machine, because they broke off my safety boards that are on the side. But take a look at this. I can't even explain to you how much concrete's actually in here, because it's now covered, but it's literally full of asphalt and concrete. There are some really huge slabs in the back here that are like all resting on one side. So yeah, it never fails. You can give people instructions and they still just do whatever they want. So this isn't whether or not my equipment can do it, or, you know, oh, you should just pick it up. I told the company what they could and could not do. It's in their contract. This dumpster I also made huge exceptions for. We don't rent dumpsters for more than 1 week. They've had this dumpster for now 5 weeks. 5 weeks they've had this dumpster. And they pay every week, and that's why I allowed it. So they nearly pay full price every week. And I said, hey, you know, like, we'll make that exception. You just let me know when you need it emptied. And it sat there for probably 3 or 4 weeks without ever even being touched. In this last week or so, I started noticing some activity. So when I was over at the Home Depot, which I visit way too often, I just peeked in it. And it was right after getting back from the lake, of course. And I look in there and I go, oh my gosh. And you can, maybe I'll drop 1 or 2 photos here. But of course, we also had gotten 12 inches of rain. There's a lot of asphalt mixed with dirt, and then there's some pretty sizable pieces of concrete. We could probably pick it up. We're gonna be way overweight, and I don't want to do it. I just don't want to risk my equipment, my liability, my license, whatever it is, my company, to pick up something I specifically told them not to put in it, and they confirmed they were not going to do it. That's the part that's most aggravating. So what I'll probably do, and maybe you'll see in one of our next episodes, is I'll probably tell them, hey, look, you can either empty it by hand or you can use an equipment, but if you destroy the dumpster in the process, like, I'm going to charge you for that too, which if they may have already, I might pick this dumpster up or get it emptied and see massive holes in it at the bottom, because you can clearly tell before that they had taken a skid and dumped slabs into it from, I mean, that's a 7 feet tall, so it could have punctured the bottom of it, which again, it's a dumpster. Not the end of the world, but I don't need it torn up from one rental when it's been great for, you know, over a year now. So anyway, long story short, what I'll probably do is basically charge them to come out there and split the load with a mini excavator and another dumpster, where we'll basically pull out as much of the hard fill as possible, or pull out the junk and put that into another dumpster, whatever is easiest, and then haul the rest of it off ourselves. But it's just, that's how it's going to go. I'm going to charge them for essentially just breaching contract. I also made sure to reach out to the Home Depot and let them know, hey, this might sit here a while because your contractors, you know, broke contract with us, and I just want to let you know it's not us being negligent or leaving it there. It's the fact that they did something they weren't supposed to, and now we need to figure it out. And they were really cool. They're like, yeah, you know, they weren't even telling us that dumpster was there. They actually reached out to me after 3 weeks because they thought I was leaving the dumpster there for advertisement because the contractors hadn't even used it yet. So communication hasn't been great with those contractors, it sounds like, and well, that's just the headache that comes with it, I guess. So anyway, stay tuned. We'll see what happens with that, and maybe it'll make for, you know, a little bit more content. All right, so we made it to Illinois Secretary of State's office, or the Capitol, literally to make a credit card payment in person because they won't do it over the phone or online. I don't quite understand, but whatever. I truly think governments need audit on their processes. Like, just truly. They just need a revamp. They need a third-party firm to come in and help them. Because here's the deal. So I'm legal for 2023, but I still need to register for 2024 to be completely legal, right? So here's what they told me to do. I just drove 2.5 hours, got here. I have estimated miles for that year. So for the next year, I have to register again to catch up. And I have to use actual miles, which I'll enter because we do IFTA. So we actually already know those miles. No big deal. I can figure that out. But she says, you're gonna have to wait 1 business day. I'm like, okay, no big deal. And then I can just, you know, register online and pay online then, since, you know, I'm caught up. She's like, no, you'll have to pay in person still. I'm like, okay, is there any way that we could speed this up? I got like the report I can pull right now. She's like, no, you gotta wait 1 business day for this to process. It's like, who processes it? Of course, they couldn't give me a straight answer, but that needs to process for a business day. I then can register, but then I need to do the same thing. I either need to run out there and pay with a credit card because they can't do that over the phone or online, or I have to not mail in a check, but a certified check, like a money order or, you know, a bank check. So I still have some work to do here. Insanely frustrating. Like, insanely. Again, my own fault. Not saying it's not. That I got behind and I misunderstood how the registration process worked for semis, but holy cow, what a headache. I can't imagine if somebody in Chicago, this happened to them, because they can't make this trip, especially not 2 days in a row. Needless to say, before I get on the road, I need a snack and a drink. Definitely need a drink. Todd,
Hey.
You're just laughing your ass off at me?
I am.
I'm sorry. The dumpster business here in Springfield. I'm putting you on the spot.
Do it.
Awesome. So I made up for lunch, and is there tequila here? There better be. But I'll explain to him just how much I love the Illinois government. We'll solve all the problems. Full bellies. I'm about to get on the road. Again, this is Todd. Todd, how did we meet?
I chased you down.
I'm putting you on the spot.
I chased you down into a parking lot after seeing you on YouTube.
So Todd came to Quincy to visit because, well, he's a flyer.
Yep.
What do you fly?
Paramotors.
Sweet. Are they all Yamahas most of the time? No?
They're all Italian Viterazzi motors.
I don't know anything about that. Never mind. So Todd has a booming business. How many dumpsters you guys got?
23.
So we're only 2.5 hours apart. Completely different markets. The more and more we talk, different people we're servicing, different, clientele, different offerings. Even you've got the bags, you've got dumpsters, you've got big dumpsters, you've got small dumpsters, heavy duty roll-offs versus light duty.
Right.
How much do you love it?
Oh, it's good. It's good business.
It's good business. Now tell them how you really feel.
It's good business. It's
good
challenging.
Every job has its thing, right?
Yep.
So you can't be, too picky. But how many times have we met up since?
Oh, at least close to a dozen, I'd say.
I'd say so too. So I'm in Springfield enough now lately, it seems, especially when my daughter was born and everything, that we've got to know each other, bounce ideas off. You just kept me from probably making a really silly mistake, just literally during this lunch that we just had. So it's fun to bounce ideas off with people that aren't, well, let's just say, like you said earlier, has heavily invested,
Right.
Mentally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Todd's somebody that I'll probably reference in the future in videos, and you guys might see him again, but it's always good to catch up. But I think
to see y'all.
I flagged you down this time. Let's just say
Yeah,
that.
yeah. You reached out this time.
Yeah, I reached out. And
I wasn't being fanboy.
Yeah, I didn't creep up on him in a parking lot. Hey, man, I know this is weird. That was actually one of the coolest moments I ever had.
Thanks for helping me start my business.
Well, yeah, he might have seen this on YouTube, but now I'm going to Todd for advice because his business is like, I mean, if you really think about it, triple what we got going on.
Yeah, well, you got me started, so
Well,
appreciate it.
It's always fun. You're blowing me up now. We'll catch you guys here in a minute. So again, Todd is super cool. That dude, I kid you not, like kind of like we briefly said, I was going to keep him on camera that whole time. You kind of reluctantly was like, sure. I just really want to show him because we've actually become, decent friends. Oddly enough, I'm driving through town one day and I see him. He flies these really cool, I believe you call them pyrometers. They're basically like, the parachute with the propeller on your back. And I've always thought those were really cool, and this truck kind of catches my eye rolling through town, and it's got one sitting in the bed of it, and sure enough, that was his truck. Well, all of a sudden, this dude's now behind me at the grocery store where I just pulled my truck and trailer into because I was getting a snack, and he goes, hey man, this is weird, but I follow you on YouTube, and we've actually started a dumpster business as well. Well, Todd lives in a completely different area, and I'm going to use that as my little excuse of why we're not as big as him. But again, it's a totally different market, and that's something you guys need to understand. Markets are different. And he's blown his business up since talking to me and since he's followed me, whatever you want to say. But he is doing really cool things. He's also involved in real estate, so we get to talk about quite a bit that we both do and bounce ideas off each other. And then not only that, more than I would normally share, but I was actually in Springfield for about a month when my daughter was born. Everything turned out, perfectly okay. Everybody's healthy and happy, but he actually lived here in Springfield, and he still does. And he reached out, and I told him, hey, I'm in town. I just want to let you know. And he's like, dude, let's get lunch. And every few days, because I didn't leave. I stayed here the entire time, operated my business from Springfield in Quincy. Probably one of the most challenging times and a huge growing moment for me. But he would get lunch with me. He'd go get a drink with me. We just bounced ideas off of each other. He kind of kept me distracted while I was here in Springfield, kept me sane. So it was really cool. We've touched base every once in a while, seen what each other up to, but he's really figured out the whole dumpster business. He's very business savvy where he's less involved in the business, but there are still days like we were telling horror stories to each other where, he's dealing with overloaded dumpster, hauling chunks of concrete out of things when he told them not to, or talking about just customer experience and, marketing and growing the business. And we even just, again, bounce more ideas off each other, which is so cool because I'm pretty impressed by the stuff he does and how he operates, where he operates more with his brain than he does with his labor. And that's how I want to grow and be. But Yeah, I mean, he's so cool as to even say, like, hey, Clayton, like, you got to come back tomorrow. We can either get lunch or maybe I can find a way to take care of your issue for you. So, Todd, yeah, good friend now. And it's just hilarious because that friendship literally stemmed from this YouTube channel. And all he said was, hey, man, I follow you on YouTube. And, you know, we started a business. And he's blowing my business, like, out of the water the way he operates. And I'm really impressed. I really am. And I think it's really cool. You build those connections. We're back in town. I've already met with Keegan. I'm about to hit the gym, detox a little bit, because while I was gone on the way home, I got a call from a tenant who apparently had a leaky shower head that was hanging outside of her tub and then leaked all over the floor. She called. We got that taken care of. We got somebody over there. We also ended up with, let's see, 2 different people that Keegan tried to pick dumpsters up from, and of course, as he showed up, both of them, they asked if they could keep them longer, which is, you know, whatever. We'll charge them, they'll pay it, and we'll pick it up later, but then it messes up the route for later. So the dumpster business, it's glorious, but it comes with its struggles, just like anything else. Don't let any of the gurus tell you this is $1 million business and you just collect dough and you don't do anything. You still got to work. You still got to problem solve. You still got to figure stuff out. But I hope you guys can stick around for some future content. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and catch us just doing other things, because we're always doing something. And I know this is just a long ranting video about my problems, but it just goes to show what some of the things you run into. Catch you next time.